Disney's Moana, Chapter 21. White light flashed around her, and a shockwave rocked Moana in the boat, but she could feel the coarse rope in her hands and smell the salt water in the air. Her eyes popped open. She was still alive. Above her she saw Maui, his hook raised to block Te Ka's fist. "Maui?" Moana cried in surprise. As Te Ka retreated to the top of an atoll to gather strength, Maui dropped down to Moana's overturned boat. "But your hook," Moana said, seeing it was still cracked. Maui hefted the hook, a crooked smile on his face. "Yeah, I talked it over with a buddy of mine." He glanced down at Minnie Maui, who was nodding sagely. "I have some abandonment and self-worth issues I'm working on," and whoosh! A fireball shot past them, barely missing the canoe. "Another time. I got your back, chosen one. Go save the world," Maui urged. He and Moana quickly righted her boat fully. Moana climbed aboard with Hei, and Maui moved to transform. "Wait, Maui," Moana called, stopping him. Joy and gratitude were bubbling through Moana. She smiled at him, glad he was there and glad he'd realized he didn't need his hook at full power to be a hero. It was trying that made him one. "Thank you," she said, meaning it with every fiber of her being and realizing it was the first time she had said those words to him. Maui beamed. "You're welcome," he said. The fishhook glowed as he summoned its power, then flew into the air as a hawk, zooming toward Te Ka. Moana ran to unfurl the sail. With a series of quick shifts of the oar, Moana deftly avoided the lava cascading from Te Ka's hands, while Maui did his part to keep the lava monster occupied, diving and circling Te Ka. Te Ka pulled back a molten arm to swing at Moana, but Maui was faster. Speeding down, he landed on the lava monster's arm and rapidly transformed into a multitude of animals, shark, whale, lizard, quickly scampering across Te Ka's skin and distracting it from Moana. "Hot, hot, 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 hot!" he cried. Te Ka shook him off, and he transformed back into a hawk in midair, screeching in defiance. Using the hook, he sliced off one of the lava monster's hands. Te Ka reared back in rage. With one powerful punch, Te Ka knocked Maui into a crag of one of the barrier islands. Te Ka's molten hand was already growing back. The lava monster turned toward Moana, preparing a massive fireball and aiming it at her canoe. Moana tried to steer away, but it was no use. She would not be able to get out of the line of fire. She braced herself for the impact and felt the ocean push her forward, trying to help. Bam! The boat shattered, flinging Moana into the water. Moana gasped for air, her boat in fragments all around her. Hei clung to a small piece of the canoe, staying afloat. Moana treaded water, taking in all the damage. This time, it looked like her boat was beyond repair. But there was no time to think about that at the moment. She looked toward the island in front of her. There was a shift in the current, and a wave rapidly pushed her to it. As soon as she reached the shallows, Moana scrambled up the rocky edge, pumping her legs as fast as she could. Furious, Te Ka made another fireball and prepared to throw it at Moana. From the barrier island, Maui lurched to his feet, realizing the danger. He and Minnie Maui exchanged a look before Maui swung his fishhook over his head, leaping into the sky to block Te Kā. White light exploded from the impact. At the same time, Moana charged up the tall cliffs, then halted abruptly, her stomach dropping at the sight before her eyes. "No," she said, the word a tight exhale. There was no spiral there. Moana was standing at the edge of a massive crater, the pit filled with water, the rest of the island just gone. Te Fiti, it's gone, Moana said. Moana turned, unsure what to do. Where could she place the heart? She saw Te Kā looming over Maui, the monster's face clenched in anger. As Maui got to his feet, Moana could see that his fishhook had been completely shattered. Chips of white fragments lay all around him. Yet Maui didn't stop to grieve. Quickly scaling the crag, he braced himself on a plateau and started doing a warrior dance, taunting Te Kā and keeping the lava monster's attention on him. He wasn't going to let Te Kā get in Moana's way. Moana watched helplessly as Te Kā stormed toward Maui, volcanic eruptions bursting out from the creature's fiery hair, clawed fingers reaching for the demigod. Te Kā reared back to strike a fatal blow. On the lava monster's chest, Moana could just pick out a faded, spiral shape crusted over. The spiral, Moana whispered, glancing back and forth between the crater where Te Fiti used to be and the angry, fiery monster trapped on the barrier islands. Unclasping the shell of her necklace, Moana pulled out the heart of Te Fiti and let it rest on her palm, where it began to glow. "Know who you are," Moana said slowly. What if Te Kā was really somebody else entirely? Somebody who had lost their way when the heart of Te Fiti was stolen. What if Te Kā was the goddess Te Fiti? The lava monster did seem to be guarding the remnants of the island. When Moana looked at the ocean for confirmation, it seemed to nod in choppy approval. Holding the heart high, Moana let it shine brightly out toward the barrier islands. The flash of white light caught Te Kā's eye, and the lava monster stopped mid-swing. At the edge of the ocean, Moana gestured to the waves. "Let her come to me," she told it. The water parted before her in a canyon that reached from the sandy crater out to the barrier islands. Maui struggled to his feet, confused. "Moana, what are you doing?" he shouted. With a clear passageway to Moana, Te Kā rushed toward her. Moana headed toward her on the same path, undaunted, a calmness settling over her. She was not afraid. She knew what she had to do. When Te Kā was deep within the canyon, Moana looked to the ocean on either side, then began to speak. "I've come a long way to see you." Nearly upon her, Te Kā rose to its full height, ready to attack, but Moana stood her ground and kept going. "I know that sometimes the world tries to take things away from you. Sometimes it tries to take what makes you special, and that's hard, but it's the hard things, the scars, that help shape us." Te Kā paused, listening. Moana continued, "I know what it's like to feel incomplete, and I can help if you let me. I know there's still a voice inside. Nothing can ever take that voice away. You just have to stop and listen. Listen to the voice inside you. Her grandmother's words seemed to soothe Te Ka, and the lava monster slowly shrank, lowering its head to regard Moana. Gently, Moana leaned forward, touching her forehead to Te Ka's blackened one in a honi. "Know who you are," Moana whispered, slotting the stone into the spiral shape on Te Ka's chest. Vibrations shook Moana as Te Ka's skin began to crack, the rocky surface splintering and falling away to reveal a peaceful green face. Moana had been right. Te Ka was really Te Fiti. The heartstone glowed brightly. Then light flowed out to fill in the spiral shape on Te Fiti's chest. As the lava and ash fell away, a woven crown of emerald leaves and vibrant flowers emerged on Te Fiti's head. The barrier islands sank away, leaving Maui treading water. Whoosh! The ocean wrapped around Maui and sucked him toward the shore, depositing him on the sand next to Moana and Heihei with a thump.